On a Wednesday morning, you know what to do. Tune into the podcast just for a few. I'll be your guide with tips for your trade. Business success, that's what we'll create. They call it private practice, a world of its own, where entrepreneurs thrive and dreams are grown. From marketing strategies to financial know-how, I'll share the secrets, come on and take a bow. Welcome to the Private Practice Podcast, where I'll help you thrive and we'll have a blast. Tune in every Wednesday, and you'll soon see your business success. It starts with me.
Okay, how much fun is that song, right? I must have listened to it about 10 times. I'm going to put the lyrics in the show notes so that if you want to sing along, you can. It's so much fun. Anywho, how did that even come about? I'll tell you. I was looking at my podcast data on the weekend and I saw we're at 415 episodes and almost 90,000 downloads, which is just so huge. I mean, I'm not going to be breaking any records. I'm not Joe Rogan. That's totally fine. But in our industry, that's a lot. So I'm super, super happy because this podcast is in a niche within a niche within a niche, blah, 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 blah. So yeah, I think it's doing really well. And then that put me in the mood to think about how could I bring even more value to the show so that, yeah, you kept coming back and you kept listening, all that kind of stuff. And what I thought of was not just making a song, but I thought what we could do is we have 2 episodes, one on a Wednesday, one on a Saturday. And I thought we'd make the Wednesday episode all about business stuff that you can implement on the day. So my vision is that you listen to it in the morning and then in the work day when you have a cancellation or a no-show or something like that, you'll be able to come back, have a quick listen and go and do the thing, right? And my bigger intention is that this is going to shift the needle with your practice, right? So it's like kind of like mini coaching bites, if you like, once a week on a Wednesday. So this is my plan. We'll see how it goes. If it works out really well, I'll keep doing it. If it doesn't work out really well, that's okay. We'll just go back to business as usual. But it's always fun to try new things, right? So when it comes to business, I was thinking, what could I share that would be really helpful that people could make a change with today? And I went into my little communities and I was having a look at all the recent discussions and I noticed that, you know, some people were saying, if you want to get more clients, you've got to be on Instagram and Facebook and TikTok and things like that. And they were talking about, how to increase followers and you should really focus on that. And you should also focus on your engagement. And other people were sort of chiming in and I thought, okay, this is an opportunity for me to actually step in and give some guidance here. So I think the reason that people talk about, you've got to have a lot of followers on your Instagram and TikTok and Facebook and all the things is because that's what they've heard. In fact, I used to hear that as well, and I used to believe the same thing, but it's a fallacy because it doesn't work in our industry, all right? And I've got so much proof of that. What I wanted to say was followers is not a good thing to be monitoring in your business. So today we're going to be talking about a key metric. It's not the only one and it's not the most important one, but I think it is probably one of the most important ones. But if you're not tracking and you don't understand what metrics are, then this is going to be so helpful for you today because it's going to unlock a new window for you to look at your private practice through and hopefully create some better results for you. So if you don't know what a metric is, In business, basically, it's just something that you're tracking. It's a data point that you're tracking. You track it on a regular basis. So you choose what that's going to look like depending on what it is. So it could be you track it weekly or monthly. I like to track things in 90-day cycles because that's how business tends to work. Now, the thing that we're going to be tracking today is a key metric that you can use that will help you tell you how well your business is functioning in terms of getting clients, right? Because here's the thing, right? Clients is a metric, but it's not the metric that you need to be tracking. I'll talk about that in a moment. First off, let's have a look at all this talk that's going on about how you've got to increase your followers. You don't have to increase your followers. You can have a social media account if you want one. You can run a private practice successfully without one. But if you do want to have social media, don't worry about how many people are following you. You can have a very successful business with a social media account that's only got 10 followers, right? In our industry, followers is not a metric that you need to be worried about, that you need to be tracking. Okay. The other thing that is really helpful for you to understand about followers is, Meta actually owns everything that you do on your Instagram and your Facebook. And they could at any time, just decide to cancel the platform or cancel your account or something like that. And then you've lost all those followers. And if you believe that those followers are potential clients, then you're going to go into a tailspin with your business. So I wanted to teach you that no, followers has nothing to do with how many clients you're going to get. Okay. The other reason that I can speak to this is because one of my clients is a mega influencer and she has like millions of followers and she barely has any clients. Okay. The other side of the coin is there are other women that I work with in private practice and they have, less than 100 followers on their accounts and they've got thriving businesses. So don't worry about followers, okay? That whole idea of you've got to have followers is outdated and it comes from other industries, not the private practice space, okay? So don't worry about that. Take the pressure off yourself. The other thing that I heard people talking about was you've got to get more engagement on your posts on your social media, and that's not true either for our industry. It is absolutely true for other industries, but when we're looking at private practice, engagement is not a predictor of bookings. Engagement is not a predictor of bookings or clients or inquiries. So do not worry, okay? If you're looking at your feeds on Instagram and Facebook and you're thinking, oh, it's pretty quiet, nobody ever engages, no one's following me, don't worry about it. Keep showing up, right? Those metrics have nothing to do with whether or not you're going to get clients. Okay. The other thing that people are talking about in our communities in terms of, how successful you are is the number of clients that you've got. And I just want to put it out here, right now. The number of clients that you have is simply a number. That's all it is. And it doesn't make your practice successful or not. It is just a number. That number has no bearing whatsoever on the level of success that you have, for the very simple reason that, somebody could have, I don't know, like look at me back when I was doing all that bulk billing as a psychologist and seeing like 40 plus clients a week. No joke. Was I successful? No, I was barely making ends meet. What I would get for the clients who did bother to turn up was about $82 a session, of which I was giving 30% to the practice in rent, right? So what does that make it? Hang on, let me just do the maths here. I'm sure it's like probably, hang on, I got my calculator out. What was it? It was $82.50 or something like that. Divided by 10 times 3. Yeah, so $25. So 82 take 25. So I was getting $57 a session, right? As a psychologist with a PhD and at the time, about 18 years of experience. That's BS money, I got to tell you. And anybody who was looking at me and using the metric of, well, she's fully booked and she sees so many clients, she's successful. No, you're deluding yourself. That is not success. That's burnout right there. That's burnout. That's depression. That's anxiety. That's stress. That's pressure. That's no work-life balance. That is not success, right? At the moment, like this week, I've got 2 clients, 2. And I've never been more successful, right? The money's where I need it to be. My time is where I need it to be. My energy is where I need it to be. I am in my sweet spot right now. So the number of clients you have is not a measure of your success. So please don't listen to what other people are talking about. Okay, you get to define success for you, but the number of clients you have is not a measure of that. Okay. Now, what I think is a measure of your success is the number of inquiries you're getting. Why? Because inquiries are gold. Once you've got somebody and they've already paid for their session and they're already working with you, the hard part is kind of done, right? In terms of the time, the money, the energy you spent in acquiring that client. The hard part is done. There's this analogy so many people use about when a plane takes off, it uses, such a high percentage of its fuel and then it just kind of coasts. It's the same when you're acquiring a client. You're using most of your fuel to acquire them. And then once you've got them, you can coast if you've got the business not policies, if you've got the business processes in place, right? And you do learn those in the Certificate of Private Practice. Without having them in place, you're going to have to do more work and you'll be on this acquisition cycle for a lot longer than other people who know what they're doing, right? But it's the number of inquiries is the most important thing that you need to be tracking. And in terms of private practice, nearly all of your inquiries, for most of you, I know there's going to always be polarity people that want to push back, but for most of you, it's going to be from your website. So yes, I want you to start tracking inquiries, and I'll tell you how to do that in a moment. I'll just make a note to myself. But what I really want you to focus on is what happens before that. So let's imagine that, Jane Doe calls up and she's making an inquiry. What happened for Jane Doe in terms of your business before she made that inquiry? Did she see something? Did she read something? Etc., etc. What we know from the data is that, 8 times out of 10, or between 7 and 8 times out of 10, depending on what source you use for your information, Jane Doe is probably going to have been on your website. So instead of tracking inquiries, which yes, we want to do, I want you to start tracking the website. I want you to start really getting familiar with the basic numbers. How many people are visiting your website? Just track it for 90 days. Now, I'm not going to tell you how to do that because it would take me way too long. Everybody's using different platforms and you've all got different dashboards and things like that. What I would suggest is if you created your website yourself, go and check your dashboard. If you don't know how to do that, click live chat and ask customer service to tell you how to get that information. They'll walk you through it and you'll be able to do it. I would track that maybe the same time, the same day every single week. So maybe, Friday at 8:30 a.m. or Monday at lunchtime, but track it 12 times. So you've got a 90-day cycle there, 12 or 13 times. You can track this by just keeping a record of it in the notes section on your phone or by putting it in a Google Doc or something. It doesn't matter how you're tracking it. My point is you don't need a fancy dashboard or anything like that, right? Just keep those numbers somewhere. Once that 90 days is up, right? I want you to have a look at the numbers and go back and see, okay, what was going on? Where, what weeks did I do really well with traffic? And what did I do on my website on those weeks? Did I post a new blog? Did I drive traffic to my website that week? Did I run an ad on Google to my website? Did I run, a campaign? Did I send out an email to people, or did I have a sign up form or something like that? What did I do that week that caused this rush of people to come over to my website? So I don't want to overwhelm you because there is so much to track when it comes to your business. And as I said, you have to track things. If you don't know your numbers, you're just winging it and you've got a hobby or a non-for-profit. And if you're serious about creating success in your business, you do need to know what the metrics are. But this is a great one to start with. So yeah, I would do that first. The other thing that I would do is in your OBS or your CRM, so your online booking system or your client relationship management software. So I'm talking about Galaxy, Power Diary, Splos, Simple Practice, Medical Director, whatever it is that you're using, Best Practice. You will have in the client data file where it lists their demographics, like their date of birth, their address, and all that sort of jazz. You will have a section in there that says how they found you or how they were referred to you or something like that. So always ask. Okay, when somebody rings up or when somebody sends an inquiry, get into the habit of saying, thank you so much for contacting me today. I really do appreciate it. How did you find me? That information is so helpful. Up until recently, so I've just changed my questions for some of my free communities now on Facebook. But up until recently, I too had that exact same question. How did you find me? And it was so helpful because what I was able to do with that metric was look at what's working, what's not, and predict what would work and stop doing the things that weren't. Let me break it down even further for you in the spirit of being totally transparent. I was sending out emails to people. I was posting on Instagram, posting on Facebook, running the podcast, updating SEO and things like that on my website every single week. I was doing lives. I started sharing my podcast to YouTube. What else was I doing? So many networking. I was posting in groups and communities. I was doing free training in groups and communities. I was guest speaking, right? So I'm up to 11 things that I was doing now. When people started to join my communities and respond to the question of how did you find me, I used a product called Group Collector to track all of the responses. So Group Collector, I just got it from AppSumo actually during one of their sales. I think I paid $97 US for it. But I've had it for years now and it's so good. And it exports everything into like a CSV file as well as a Google Sheet for you. And then you can sort it and play around. And overwhelmingly, what I was able to see very clearly was the people that were making inquiries or even booking my services for professional supervision, for clinical supervision, for mentoring, for coaching, booking into my courses and my memberships and things like that. Most of them were finding me through Facebook and my podcast. Barely anyone was saying Instagram or email or my website, which was really surprising. But the difference for me compared to you is that I live on Facebook, right? I work from home. I barely see any clients. It's how I've restructured my practice. So I've gone from seeing, an excessive amount of clients to bringing my practice right down to seeing as few as possible. So I'm creating different things now, like digital products to create monthly recurring revenue. This is the structure at the moment of my private practice. So for me, things have shifted. But That's why for me, it's not so much my website. In saying that though, I still maintain my website and I do track my data. And at the moment, my data on my dashboard from GoDaddy is telling me that mine is in the top 2% of websites for private practices. Around the world for getting traffic. So I know that it's doing really, 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 really well. People visit it all the time. They go and do their stuff, but they're not hiring me through the website. They're hiring me because I'm building relationships. And this is what I was talking about before, not in this episode, but in previous episodes. It really is about understanding the importance for us to build rapport with our clients, and you are my client, so I want to do everything I can to build rapport with you. So for me, yes, I can be trying to do it on my website, but for me, the easiest way to build rapport with you is to show up on the podcast, because I know that's what you like, and to show up on Facebook, giving help, being present, being available, responding to things really quickly, doing bite-sized trainings most Mondays when I remember, those kinds of things. So for me, what I am taking away from the metric is that, I've got a great website and it's performing super well. But what you're telling me is that you're signing up with me for different things because of my presence on Facebook and because of my podcast. So that information allowed me to do less of all the other things. So I send a lot less emails now. I do have onboarding emails. So when people join things, they get an email, sequence from me. It's usually only about 5 emails. And then they kind of stop and they'll just go into the general population of all my email subscribers, and they'll get them just here and there when I send them out here and there. But if they sign up to a workshop or a membership, or they enroll in a course, they're going to get an onboarding series of emails that tell them about, this is how you log in, this is how to navigate your dashboard or your portal, this is the group, make sure you join it, right? So it's helpful stuff because I want them to obviously read it, and I don't want to be spamming people, and I don't want to be, if I don't have anything that's useful or helpful, I'm just not going to send you an email. Anyway, so that metric allowed me to understand what resonates and what builds rapport with my audience the most. And it allowed me to stop killing myself trying to be everywhere to everyone for everything. Now, this is what I want for you too, but it's unlikely at the moment that you're getting clients if you have a podcast. Like, I'm just saying, like, you don't have to copy me. If you don't have a podcast, that's okay. You don't need to go and start a podcast either. In fact, I had my podcast for 2 or 3 years before it really took off. And it was just a labor of love. It was more like a hobby for me. It was something I enjoyed doing. I was only doing it on a Saturday morning. I loved it. But a tipping point came for me, but it took 3 years. So are you going to be able to stay the course and keep going when you've only got 17 listeners for 3 years, right? Literally, it was like 17 listeners for about 3 years, and then boom, overnight I got 800 listeners, and then boom, it was another 200 or 300, and then boom, and it just kept coming and coming and coming. But it took time. So no, you don't have to go and do a podcast. And you see me on Facebook, but you don't have to mimic that either, right? As I said, I'm in a very different position to many of you, because I understand a lot of you are either studying full time or you're working full time. You don't have the space that I do to be on Facebook building connections and relationships with people. What I know for you is that most of you are going to get your inquiries from your website. So the metric I want you to start tracking for the next 90 days is the number of visitors to your website, right? We need to get a baseline. From that baseline, we're going to look at, okay, great, how many inquiries came from the website? So that's the second metric that you're going to be tracking, right? Where are my inquiries coming from? If you don't feel comfortable asking people on the phone or wherever, how did you find me? Another option is to include it in your forms when you get people to sign up. So include it on the intake form. Give them the options of, was it here, there, here, there, and let them tick. But enter that information into your OBS or your CRM so that you can run a report on it in 90 days and see where the inquiries are coming from. That information is going to help you so much. You can spend less money, spend less time, spend less energy doing things that aren't working for your practice, and focus or redirect it onto the things that are. Okay, so if you start to notice a pattern that people are coming through because they've read a blog post, then that's telling you, let's amp up the blog posts. Instead of doing one a month, let's do one a week. Or instead of doing one a week, let's do 2 a week, right? It tells you exactly what's working, so you know to do more of what's working. This is what's so important. So yes, the number of clients that you have is a metric. The number of appointments that you have is a metric. The number of people who attend, who don't attend, who cancel, who reschedule, all of that stuff, they're all metrics. But the two that I want you to focus on is traffic coming to your website and, where the inquiries are coming from. They're the two things to focus on. Please go away, set this up for yourself today. You're going to need somewhere to record this information that's easy for you. I would also put a reminder in the diary, go and do it now at lunchtime. Go and do it now. Get out the diary and just, flip ahead every Monday, 4 o'clock, track this, and then flip to the following Monday, track it, flip to the following Monday, track it. If it's not in your diary, you won't do it. Okay, so put it in the diary, do it, keep that information somewhere. And when it comes to the end of the 90 days, you're going to thank yourself because now you will have a new window, as I said, to look at the practice through, and you will be able to say, oh, thank goodness I don't have to do TikTok videos anymore. Oh, thank goodness I can give Instagram the flick, right? Or whatever it is. And you'll probably find the things that you really do enjoy doing are the things that are generating the inquiries for you. But yeah, just see how you go. So this is your business tip for Wednesday. These are, I was going to say this is, and then I was going to say these are, so I stuffed that up. But these two things are the two important metrics for you to focus on, okay? Go away and do it. If you need help or you get stuck, let me know. More than happy to help you out with it. Thank you so much for listening to this podcast, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye for now. Okay, wait, I've got a PS here. The PS is, if you're a counsellor that has a diploma, you can join the Diploma Counsellor Society next week from the VIP list and win back the cost of the program and $100 cash. If you're on the VIP waitlist for the Diploma Counsellor Society or DCS, you will also get a $200 discount on the program. The program for everyone else is going to be $497. And yes, there'll be payment plans. I think it's about $50 a month or something. But for those of you who are on the VIP wait list, for you, it's only going to be $297. It's a tax deduction. You get a year's supply of CPD. There's supervision included. There's monthly trainings. There's resources, community for those of you who do want to be part of a community and overcome isolation and things like that. But yeah, it opens twice a year. It's opening on Thursday next week. That's the 16th of May at 7 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, so Melbourne time, for 48 hours. So you've got the 2 days to join. That's for everybody with a diploma. But if you want to win back the cost of the program and get a cash bonus of $100, you need to be on the VIP waitlist. And if you want to save $200, which is almost 50%, again, you need to be on the VIP waitlist. Okay, if you're not on that waitlist, you're going to be paying the normal amount. To get on the wait list, click the show notes below. Do feel free to share this information with anybody else that you think might be interested. As I said, this is a very special offer just for people who are on the VIP wait list. The doors are opening now in May, and they won't open again for 6 months, which is... Hang on one moment, I'm just going to check my calendar. May, okay, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It'll open again in November, mid-November, okay? It's perfect for you if you're working full-time, and it's perfect for you if you're already studying, because it's been specifically designed to fit around a busy schedule, okay? You don't have to do things at certain times and all of that. You've got 24/7 access to just about everything in there. As I said, year's supply of PD, all the things. When it opens again in November, it's not going to be at $497. And I don't know if I'll have a VIP waitlist. I'll see how it goes with this one first, because it's the first time I've done it. If the VIP waitlist is a raging success, we'll do it. If not, we won't. But it's certainly not going to be $497 again. It will be a higher price. So just giving you the heads up with that. So, yep. Check out the show notes if you're wanting to come along to that. It's only for people who've got a diploma in counselling. Okay, that's it from me. Happy Wednesday, and let me know how you go. Bye.
On a Wednesday morning, you know what to do. Tune into the podcast just for a few. I'll be your guide with tips for your trade. Business success, that's what we'll create. They call it private practice, a world of its own, where entrepreneurs thrive and dreams are grown. From marketing strategies to financial know-how, I'll share the secrets. Come on and take a bow. Welcome to the Private Practice Podcast, where I'll help you thrive and we'll have a blast. Tune in every Wednesday, and you'll soon see your business success. It starts with me.